Okay, so hello, my name is Catalina Herrera and I want you to welcome to the series of my videos, How to in Spotfire. Today we're going to present a use case that includes TIBCO Spotfire with advanced data services. So we're going to combine the solution, we're going to show ADS, Advanced Data Services, and Spotfire as part of a use case. And for that, I have a special guest, Sherlock Holmes from Genware Computer Systems. Welcome, Sherlock, and thank you for sharing this interesting use case with us today. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your company, and of course, what are we going to be seeing today?
Perfect. Thank you very much for having me here today, Catalina. Very pleased to be here. I'm also joined by Ron Vogel, a solutions architect at Genware. I'll be handing it over to him to show us a demonstration a little later. My name's Sherlock Holmes, and I'm the CEO and founder of Genware. Very proud to say that we're the 2017 TIBCO Digital Collaboration Partner of the Year. And today I'm pleased to show how we use ADS, which is Advanced Data Services. And for those of you that are actually looking at the product, Cisco Information Server, or more recently, TIBCO Information Server. Combining this with Spotfire to provide a virtual data warehouse environment for high-speed analytics. So just a quick introduction about the company. Genware Computer Systems is a company that assists customers with leveraging information as an asset and transforming businesses along the digital transformation path. Today, Genware provides services to technology and business teams. We provide coaching and training along the way, making sure that customers can get the greatest benefit out of using these technologies. We strive to be the outsourced competency center where our customers go when they need guidance and assistance. So the demonstration we're going to look at today is going to focus on how we actually pulling information from multiple ERP sources, putting it into a virtual data warehouse, and following a methodology to structure this in such a manner that it's scalable and can grow, but more importantly, that our end user community can easily access the information. Now, just before I do that, maybe Catalina, I can ask you to share with us a little bit about the strategy around Cisco Information Server, or the more recently branded TIBCO Information Server.
Sure. So let me place this specific use case into the analytics maturity context. What are we looking at? How we evolve from the basic to more advanced analytics, and what are the steps? So the rapid growth of data can be a competitive advantage or an obstacle when it comes to achieving better business outcomes. It is key to figure out how to best leverage those data assets. That's a fact. But what is the problem? The problem is that the data is not only coming from multiple data sources, but it's also a lot coming from multiple data sources. So you have data all over the place. It's scattered in these silos, and you have data coming from traditional databases, big data, cloud sources, and many other options, right? So what we are showing here at the screen right now, it's that analytics maturity curve. And as you can see, the very first step, it's to have that data preparation, management, and visualization layer ready for me to be able to grow within analytics. So what will be the next step in that growing? So as this falls exactly, I have all of these data sources. Now they are properly managed, they are properly prepared, and I can naturally continue with my data discovery, my dashboarding, or even further, my predictive or prescriptive analytics when we start moving in that maturity curve. So we're starting to go into the advanced analytics. And every time that we increase the maturity on that analytics, the value that I am providing to my company actually increases. So you can see that the x-axis is maturity, the y-axis is value, and the more I get into the maturity of analytics, the more I put into advanced analytics and solutions, I get more value for my company. So today we're going to focus on the first cycle over here, which is that composite that we're seeing in the screen, and we are going to cover the use case that is going to consolidate data sources and is going to provide that perfect data layer for me to grow in maturity in terms of analytics. With that, I'm going to turn it back to Sherlock, and we're going to see what is our use case today.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So we built a solution that provides a high level of analytics in a global enterprise organization where we're looking at operational information along with financial information, along with forecasted data that actually sits in Excel files. Now, I think it's key to note that the solution relies on the use of a virtual data warehouse that we created using Information Server. End users are able to analyze across these different sources and across functions within the organization using information and catering to both the executive teams and operational analytics. By having access to information in cases that's near real time, these feeds are able to be used at the operational floor. Key performance indicators drive a lot of this information, and the analysis provides in-depth access to data driving those KPIs. Our focus is predominantly on the Information Server piece. What I would like to share is that this is also an interesting strategy for a cloud-based data warehouse, where we're actually able to host our Information Server on a cloud-based environment and provision a virtual data warehouse that can be accessed from our analytics solutions. So whether it's an on-prem solution or whether it's a cloud-based solution, it caters to both. More importantly, though, Information Server is federating data from all these different sources so that we can access them and use them together. Now, the way that we've done that is fairly unique. We follow a methodology of best practices so that as the solution grows and as additional data sources are added, the virtual data warehouse can expand to accommodate that. I'm going to hand it over to Ron Vogel, who's going to take us through these different areas of ADS or of Information Server and how we've structured it to give you an idea of the interface and how to go about constructing a solution where you're providing information for analytics in this manner. With that, Ron, I'll ask you to take over the screen.
Great. Thank you, Sherlock. Okay, let's begin first by taking a look at the Spotfire analysis file. So while we won't be exploring all of the functionality within this Spotfire analysis, we can look and see here that we've got some key performance indicators in areas with sales and also operations, including both actuals and forecasted data. And to these tabs allow us to not only see the high-level KPIs and summary information, but Spotfire also allows us to then drill down into detail to see some of the driving information. Next, let's look at the Spotfire client and Information Designer. We can see here in Information Designer that the source information coming from Advanced Data Services is coming in via information links. As we can see here, we've got a number of information links configured against Advanced Data Services, which allow us to create high-performance connectors to our analysis file. So we've got things such as finished goods, operational metrics, production metrics, profitability scales, sales, and scrap. We can see here we also have the ability to create filters, create prompts, rename columns, create parameters, and also apply caching if needed on the information side. Next, let's take a look at Information Server. Within Information Server, we have a number of layers. So in best practice, we've created an approach to use 4 layers to create a model of our data. So we can see here we've got a source view layer which maps to the source data, a business physical view or a common data layer, a business star view or a virtual data mart, and a subject area views folder, which contains denormalized analytical subject areas. As we explore the first layer, or the source view layer, we can see here this layer's focus is gaining access to the source data. Keep in mind that the source data may include a variety of ERP source databases and also may contain a series of Excel or CSV files. In this case, we've got a number of CSV files where we've sourced information. We can expand these files to explore the columns within the files of the source data. We can also take a look at an introspection report, which shows us files which have been recently added, updated, or removed. Our second layer is the business physical views layer, or our common data layer. In this layer, we standardize our input metadata and create a common data dictionary regardless of the source data column names. This allows us to easily extend the solution to cater to new ERP systems. By keeping the data access in level 1 and then creating a business physical view in level 2, we reduce the need to modify the analysis when we add a new ERP source system. I would also like to point out that an additional step for consideration is to split views based on time series. So for example, you could have one set of views that source data from a previous year or history. These views can then be cached in ADS for optimal performance. Secondary views can be set up to source data for the current year and could be used in a pass-through mode. So within ADS, or Advanced Data Services, we can then consolidate those views into one and let Information Server handle using live data and cache for performance. An alternate method could be if we had offloaded the data into Hadoop, combined multiple source systems into one logical view, and then access the data. Here's a quick example of one of the business physical views. So we see here we've written a procedure against our customer view, or our customer source, to create this view. The next layer is our business star view layer. In level 3, we tell ADS how to plan to access the data, and we create optimized views to transform the data from source system format to a format designed for analytics. So we can see here we've got our material movement model, which includes a number of views as well. We can expand the material movement model to take a look at the various columns that are included in this business view. Views may be joined and also may be cached for performance purposes as well. We can see here with the lightning bolt icon that the caching has been enabled. So if we navigate to the caching tab, we can then see what the caching frequency has been set to, refresh modes, and scheduling. Our final layer is the subject areas view layer. I'll go ahead and open the finished goods subject area view. In this layer, we create denormalized subject area views. While we could handle this in Spotfire using Information Designer, we have chosen to move this into our Advanced Data Services layer so that we can cache this view as needed. These views are typically for subject areas which include the ones shown in level 4, such as finished goods, production, profitability, sales inventory, scrap, and spending. In addition to this, we can include filters, we can include calculations, any business logic needed, and also cached resourcing as well. And with that, concludes our demo of ADS.
Thank you, Ron. That's actually very interesting. I think one of the questions that most of our viewers may be asking is, okay, well, can I actually do a lot of these using Spotfire? And I think you mentioned a couple of very, very key parts of it. It's completely overwhelming sometimes, the amount of data sources that you actually have to manipulate, transform, manage, and get ready for you to consume, number one. And number two, the fact that you can actually catch that and have all the layers ready for the analyst to join or to consume that through an information link using a Spotfire. Now, just FYI, keep in mind that if still you see some issue with the quality of the data, or you still need to do some data wrangling or data manipulation in addition to that, you have the whole set of tools within a Spotfire that are going to allow you to do data transformation, additional joins if you need to, or data wrangling for additional data quality. But what this is doing is organizing all of that for you, doing the heavy duty work on the back end to have a clean and solid foundation for you to grow into the analysis as soon as you can actually ingest all of this information through the information designer. And I think that's also key. Anything else to add, Sherlock?
Yeah, I think that's very critical over there, because as we look at this type of solution, there's always a number of alternates that you have as to where you pick which component and when do you do something. So, for instance, I'd just like to point out a couple of things. There's a lot of content that we covered here, but one item I'll point out is that, imagine this: if I've got information that's stored in a warehouse or in an operational system, and there's 5 years worth of data. Through creating these different views, I'm able to create 2 views and bring it together. One that says, go and get me data for the oldest 3 years, and for the other one, get me the current 2 years where I'm possibly still posting transactions, and get that real time. By using Information Server, we're able to create a single view that brings those 2 views together. We cache the historic data, and we can easily bring the new data on demand. So we're able to do some very interesting feeds on data by using this multi-layered approach. The other one that becomes more and more prevalent today is the ability to bring data from a Hadoop source and bring it together with a relational source, possibly for the same reason. Maybe you've offloaded large quantities of data out of your warehouse into Hadoop, and now what you're doing is you're trying to do your reporting and analytics, but you still need to go back 4 or 5 years, and so sometimes you need to bring data from multiple sources. So by clever use of Information Server, as with our use case where we're using Excel files and data out of ERP systems, that could be extended to use different types of sources or different types of stores as well. And bringing it all the way to the forefront, thinking through your caching strategies, and at the end of the day, providing a very easy to use interface to the information for the end user, so that they can focus on the analytics and doing the moving along that curve that you showed us, Kathleen, where they start out with Spotfire and they move all the way to predictive and prescriptive analytics and various other options down the road. So with that, I'd say thank you very much for having us here today and for allowing us to present one of our use cases.
No, thank you. And thank you for sharing this use case with the community, and looking forward for a next opportunity and keep learning. So thank you, everyone, and see you next time.